The Nordic market for digital customer communication is very diverse. Each country is different. However, there is a clear trend. No matter which country you're in, it is still about creating the optimal customer experience. Kivra in Sweden and e-Boks in Denmark, they have together several million users with one common expectation: a seamless and user-friendly experience. And with that, I welcome Henrik Lönnevi, the CEO of Kivra, Ulrik Falkner Thagesen, CEO of e-Boks, and Lisbet, you're still with us.
Of course.
Now, Ulrik, let's start with a question for you. Now, several market analyses point to Denmark as one of the most digitalized countries in Europe. e-Boks is an important player. Could you please give a short background and current status?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, over the last many years, any digital rankings that have been published globally, Denmark has been coming out on the top, no matter whether it's UN's e-government index or EU's DESI index or OECD's digital government index, where Denmark last time came out as second after South Korea. It's quite an accomplishment, so it's something everybody notices. But in my opinion, it actually goes 20 years back. It goes back to a strong cooperation between the public sector and the private sector, where thoughts for the next 20 years development was actually made in the beginning. It was founding bricks of a strong digital society that was made at that time. It was making a strong EID, so everybody knew who was who in a digital society, and then a strong communication channel that was secure, and that was e-Boks at that time. So you can say that our sort of birth was actually made 20 years ago, and we're still living on that strong building bricks for everybody being capable of identifying everybody, and everybody being capable to securely communicate with each other. Today we have more than 90% of the Danish population actually communicating via e-Boks. We got 30 million logs in, 35 million log in every month. We got nearly 600 million documents through the system, and in total with our white label platforms and also our branded platform, we got 23 million users. So we're a 20-year-old company, but still growing, and have a successful sort of relationship with existing customers, but also new segments coming in and still onboarding. So that is the story of e-Boks, and it goes 20 years back.
That's impressive. Now, Henrik, could you give a similar background for Kivra in Sweden?
Of course, happy to. So Kivra is a platform for viktigheter, we call it, and that is basically can be translated into important stuff. So we're serving close to 6 million Swedes, and we have some 50,000 sending companies and authorities. And we are now at the point where actually living in Sweden involves also having Kivra. So Swedes are getting used to having their bills through Kivra, getting their salary specifications through Kivra, doctor's appointment, grocery receipts, car inspection reports, you name it. And all of these distributed through this safe and trusted platform with verified senders in one end and verified users in the other end, and really creating an infrastructure for society.
And Lisbet, let's start with the big picture. How do you see the digital transformation of customer communication in the Nordics?
The digitalization in the Nordic countries has progressed rapidly during the past years. And if we look into Strålfors business, in 2016, the share of our physical transactions were about 75%. But if we move forward to 2023, it almost is the opposite, where the digital transaction stands for 70% of the transactions. And this development will continue. And I think the key success factors here is to be proactive, to embrace technology, and for us, for sure, to offer the best solution in the market.
Now, Lisbet, we just heard about the status of the Danish market and the Swedish market. But what about Norway and Finland? And how would you describe the status of those markets?
If we look into digital mailboxes, it is a strong channel also in Norway and Finland for public communication, but it doesn't have the same strong position when it comes to communication overall. One reason is the degree of regulation. and another, the governmental pressure on the market. And I will also mention that the amount of other strong channels have an impact. For instance, or for example, e-invoices in Norway and Finland. With that said, the market continuously changes, and we do believe there are further potential for digital mailboxes in Norway and Finland.
Henrik, to follow up on that, I assume that customer experience is essential in everything you do. What is your biggest challenge or opportunity at the moment?
Well, I think that, a platform like Kivra or e-Boks for that sake, we have a certain set of superpowers. First of all, we are connecting this trusted ecosystem, this trusted platform where we have verified senders and verified users. So that's the first one. The second one is the reach, that through our platforms you can reach out to more or less every adult Swede or every Dane. And the third part is that everything that's sent through Kivra are getting read or interacted with. So we have an opening rate of high 90% for the content that's sent. And these superpowers, we're constantly looking into more categories, more viktigheter, more use cases to apply them on. And that can be taking a bigger share of two-sided communication, for example, enabling companies and banks to get KYC informations or just opening up new use cases for this platform. And that, I think, is the biggest opportunity there is. I think we only have scraped the surface of what these platforms can bring to society going forward.
Superpowers. I like that. Ulrik, as users, we typically prefer seamless experiences in everything we do. How do you go about providing this seamless customer experience?
I share the view of Henrik, but for e-Boks, we've been, over the last many years, trying hard and invested a lot in adding on value-added services that makes a lot of sense for interactions for both the senders and the users. And our latest, biggest invention and also the biggest investment we did last year was something we call action on documents, which basically gives you a seamless possibility to tap into any document and then have any kind of interactions that the customer or the user actually want. That could be KYC processes, that could be payments, signings, it could be firing up a chat function with the customer support. It could also be onboarding solutions and so forth, without locking into new system and getting out of our system. So it actually is a seamless integration with the customers' websites and systems. So that I think we share the same view that if we can keep the users engaged in a good way, that is seamless for them, and it also increases the usage and the satisfaction among both users and senders.
So now, if we look a bit ahead, Henrik, this one's for you. What main trends do you see in the market? Say 2-3 years ahead? Where is Kivra then?
We have a lot of invoices on our platform, and month by month, year by year, growing constantly. And that is, the payment experience is getting to a bigger and bigger part of our overall experience. Already now, we are with volumes only from Sweden, actually one of the biggest open banking players in Europe. So payments will be a big part of our journey also going forward. Then I think it's quite exciting because it's actually the next election that will be in Sweden. You will get your voting card distributed into Kivra. And when I start thinking about how we then can help out trying to get that experience as good as possible, then we're trying to make something that's really important for society.
That's a big step for society.
It is. And then, our first decade has been about gather and refining viktigheter coming onto the platform. I think our route ahead will be much about sharing these viktigheter. That can be about sharing your bank account with a new employer, or for the first time when getting a pension payout. Or it can be that sharing your salary slips with the bank when applying for a mortgage. So basically helping the individuals in Sweden, enabling sharing of their viktigheter in a better way. So that are the three areas where I see that will go on.
Ulrik, what is your perspective on the future?
No, I very much agree with Henrik on sharing important information, actually keeping them in a safe place, like e-Boks or Kivra. And thereby, I also think that we are tapping into a general sort of global development where some really important stuff are going on right now. There is a strong digitalization going on in the whole world. Everybody knows that. But there's a lack of security and safe channels for both businesses and governments. Safeguarding some of that will be solutions like Kivra and e-Boks. And to a very large extent, there's some regulatory elements that are going on right now. Globally, I think around 100 countries have similar regulations on the way or already made, which is similar to GDPR, so compliance in terms of privacy, which is really, really important. Then we have eID solutions, which is being implemented across the world, and a very strong solution also coming up in the European Union with the eID wallet, which actually taps into the situation that Henrik also describes by sharing important information for multiple purposes in a strong wallet structure. And I think players like Kivra and e-Boks has a very strong position to play in that space.
And you mentioned cybersecurity, and we're going to talk more about that through the summit. So I want to do a quick poll here with you two. How well do you sleep at night with the respect of cybersecurity? Henrik, you go first.
Well, I mean, the geopolitical situation around us is more troublesome than in many, many, many years. And I mean, that is deeply concerning for me as a human and for CEO as for Kivra. However, I mean, cybersecurity has been a key part of our journey from day one. I mean, we know that we have a lot of information, important information, and we have been investing heavily into cybersecurity, basically throughout the journey. So I'm trying to sleep decent at night, even though the world around us is not what we would like to see. However, I believe that solutions like Kivra and e-Boks is actually the need for these kind of platforms is just getting bigger and bigger in the times we live in. To create this safe and trusted platforms and ecosystem where you have verified senders and verified users, where you know that if you're getting a notice sent out from the police, you can trust that this is the police that sent this. So I mean, yes, we talk a lot about the wars that's going on around us, but we also have everything that's happening with more scams, disinformation and stuff. And there I think that our kind of platforms is actually helping society and becomes even more important going forward.
So what I hear is that you sleep well because you're part of the solution.
I sleep decent while trying to be a part of the solution.
Henrik, and your perspective on that?
Yeah,
you sleep well?
I sleep very well, and I think Henrik does as well. And I think we are basically in the business of getting everybody else to sleep well. And I think
that's a good point, actually.
That is what we do. And I think if we go past the last many years of development for both Kivra and e-Boks, it's been the core of our business is to take care of important information. Yeah. And when you start that way, some things are easier. If you start with an email where if I had your email address, I could send you anything you don't want. But you can't do that with us. So we start from a safer place, but we have to take care that the geopolitical situation is new and different. And it puts a pressure on everybody. But I think we're part of the solution.
So we already talked a bit about the global perspective. How do you see your companies, no, both of you actually, bringing what you do to a Nordic level?
Here we have two quite different approaches to it. So from a Kivra perspective, I mean, we truly believe that we want to create this strong platform within a country. So we are present in Sweden and in Finland. And I mean, we have spent a decade in Sweden. We have spent a couple of years or 5 years in Finland trying to get the same kind of platform really into the society. And we have full focus on building these two countries as strong as possible. And that is our total global ambitions. So a quite narrow view on globalization.
Yeah, that's probably the place where we differ the most. We got a strong Nordic approach. We have white label solution with many of our customers, so you don't even see e-Boks many places in the Nordics, but we are there. And then we have a very strong platform in the Danish market. But our view is basically to become a global leader in digital postboxes. And we are tapping into a potential, in our opinion, with a huge pipeline of potential sort of new customers coming in 24, 25. There is a lot of countries right now looking at the Nordics for faster development. They're looking into same kind of solutions that we have, but they want to do it faster. They don't want to spend 10, 20 years to do what we did. They want to leapfrog the development, and I think we are part of that solution and have made e-Boks in a product way, so it's very easy to implement within a few months anywhere in the world. So, and a part of that is also having strong partners, because you can't go to some strange places on Earth and then think that they will just know where we are. So you need to have strong partners. A good example, like Strålfors is for us in the Nordics. We are right now in 23. We formed a partnership with a company called kundekommunikation. That is a strong CCM partner in Australia and New Zealand and some other places in APAC. And I think that's the way forward for us, through strong partners, through close cooperation with people that share our vision. And PostNord Strålfors is definitely one of those.
Oh, that's a good segue for my next question for Lisbet. Strålfors is part of an ecosystem of partners and customers. What are the most important factors in providing the optimal customer experience to the customer's customer, from your perspective?
Yeah. And we will come back to the partners. That is really important. But what we've seen in many surveys is that the consumers want to choose for themselves how to receive their communication. And therefore, it's very important for us to have the ecosystem with partners like e-Boks and Kivra in order to have an offer to our customers with all available channels on the market, which make our customers in their turn be able to offer it to their customer, to the end customers. So partners and the ecosystem of partners is very important here.
Thank you very much, Lisbet, Henrik and Ulrik.